Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back. Another episode of BU Podcast, part of Supermom's Magic Circle. And today we have Jennifer. She is incredible. I have to say that she is an apologetically creates the life that you desire. She will help you to really find your voice, to really stand up for you and to get that power back through leadership and all her life changes that she's been through. And I have to say, she overcome an abusive relationship. She also divorced and is a mother of two children. And I can't wait for her to just share with us all her knowledge and everything. So welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you, Roxandra. So happy to be here.
Same. I'm just so happy to see you, and I can't wait for you to share with the world a bit more about your business and what you do, because I love everything about you. Please just tell us a bit about how your journey started.
Yeah, so I'm the first family member to graduate high school, go on to college. I got my master's degree. Um, I married my high school sweetheart. We were together for 18 years, married eight. We had our beautiful daughter. Unfortunately, our marriage didn't work. So we divorced. Very amicable. So we worked together to raise our daughter, co-parent very well together. I then got into another relationship. It lasted 4 years and it was very abusive, mentally, physically, emotionally, verbally, all the things, financially. Um, we had a son. And then I left in March of 2016, so 9 years ago. I became a single mom and a co-parent mom on my own for the very first time, and just trying to navigate the world as mom and single, divorced, and then I went through corporate world. I was working there, got laid off, bankruptcy, and um, had to really figure out who I was again. And that's really where the journey started was even though all these things happened, I had to figure out who I was again. Um, so just rebuilding my life for myself as well as building the life I wanted to create with my children. Um, so fast forward, I had a second corporate job that I got laid off of, and COVID happened. We were at home, and I started my business. I started coaching and fell in love with it. I love watching the women I work with just transform their lives, but also the lives of those around them. So that's really how my journey began. And I purchased this home that I sit in now in 2019. So it is possible. When you go through all these different things and traumas in our lives, we think of trauma as these big things. They can be small things too. Losing a job is trauma. It upheavals our lives. So, yeah. And so going through all those different things has helped me become stronger, um, and helped me when my daughter then almost 4 years ago was in a motorcycle accident. So just knowing how to navigate and be the leader for not just myself, but my children and my family and my ex-husband's family, for all of us to be able to navigate that together. So,
Wow, so many aha moments I had in your journey. Thank you so much for sharing this. And thank you for,
yeah.
honestly, thank you so much for being so honest and open and transparent. It's huge. So I think you are the definition of resilience. And if you ever think about writing a book, I promise I will buy it. Just everything you said looks like it's a setback after another setback and after a setback. And look at you now. Wow, that's really, really, really impressive, inspirational, I have to say. Thank you, Jennifer. What would you say was the biggest challenge and how did you overcome it?
Whew. The biggest challenge was facing the abuse and really to not hide anymore. I lived secrets, right? I lived life in secrets. And being able to open up to my family. I mean, I lied to them. I lied to everybody. They all pretty much knew, but I would make up a story of how things happened. And um being honest and being able to open up and just officially say, I'm a survivor. I was a victim of domestic violence, but I'm now able to say that I broke the cycle, right? I took my kids and we're gone. Um, and my son has no contact with his father, and that was his father's choosing. He chose not to do what he was supposed to do. And I have a protection order, thankfully, on him still to this day. And, just making that decision of leaving was really hard because I had to figure out how to get out on my own without him knowing, making sure I had that place for my kids and I to go to. So making that decision and then working through all the um all the emotions, right?
Mm.
It's like that grieving process that you go through. Um and I still live with PTSD from my experience. Some days it's really low key, and other times it's really heightened. It just depends on what's going on and what happens. But the journey is not easy. It's hard, but no one's alone in the journey. And I think that's one of the biggest things I want people to understand is that it's hard, but you're not alone through it. That's
Absolutely. And that's so powerful that you said that because especially when you're going through so much, it's hard. It's hard.
hmm.
Do you remember the day that you said that this is it? I had enough. I'm just gonna change the life for me and my children.
I
Tell me.
do. Yeah, I do. We were at my ex's parents' house. We had gotten into a fight and he was gaslighting me. He and he's narcissistic. And I just remember confronting him about something that had happened and him treating me like a child in the sense that I didn't know what I was talking about. So really belittling me too, right? So I really stepped into it and it was like, wait a minute. This this isn't this isn't how I want to live. This is certainly not how I want my children to live. Um, and then we ended up getting into a physical altercation that night. Um, and my daughter almost saw the fist that he came at me with. She did see I had a bloody nose. So she was sheltered enough that she didn't know at the time that he had hit me. And our son was sleeping in the room with us, so he woke up screaming because obviously it's loud noises. Thankfully he was a baby, but I do know, even though he was a baby, that it's impacted him. Um, so knowing I was like, okay, she's almost seen it because she was older and I couldn't continue to live like that. For one, I didn't want my children to see it. And two, I want to be here for them. I want to be here. I want to watch them grow up. And just thinking about that moment makes me get really emotional because at any moment he could have shifted and altered their lives 100%, right? And
Mm.
there's a potential I might not have been here. So knowing that I'm here and I'm able to speak to other people, and especially women, it gives me hope because I want to make sure that they understand, like, no matter how hard it is, they can rebuild their life if that's what they truly want, right? And so knowing that moment, I knew at that point it was, I can't live this life. My children deserve way better. So do I. And now it's time to figure out how to do it without him knowing so that I can move forward with my children and do it safely.
Wow. 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 I have to say 3 times wow. And once you manage to do that for yourself, which is huge, you are really, really strong because you do need to have courage
Mhm.
to really do that first step. And I have to say, congratulations. And then the second step is when you are taking the role of a mom and a dad and still dealing with your own emotions. And probably your brain is still, is there asking, was that the right decision? Is it this good for my kids for future, for their future, and all those thoughts and self-sabotaging? And I can imagine it wasn't a difficult journey. But now let's see the good that happened to you. So let's talk about your amazing business and how are you helping those women to find their voices again, to find who they are and to live a life that they desire.
Yeah, thank you. It's jumping into this realm of coaching and watching the women really step into who they want to become. Not only is it empowering for them, it's empowering for me. I love watching. I don't, I get in the goosebumps talking about this. I love watching their lives shift in front of me because it's not just about who they are, it's about who that they're impacting, right? So, one, stepping into who they are as a leader, which we have to be the leader of ourselves first, and then being able to lead others. And just watching my clients being able to do that, the women that I've worked with have had some amazing, amazing transformations. And it's, you get to watch their eyes change, like their life change, but their eyes almost brighten up. Their world get
Shining.
brighter, right? It's like the little seed that starts, the plant starts to come up, and then all of a sudden this huge bloom comes out of nowhere. And you're like, oh my gosh, like what just happened? And that to me is the most amazing part of this journey. It's yeah, it's just like uplifting for me. And it gives me a lot of energy.
It does. And I have to say, we are exactly on the same page. Actually, it's exactly what I was talking about in a podcast that I was part of yesterday. And this is exactly what I said. Like, this
Mm,
is what really drives me. And it's not just a case, like, exactly like you said, it's not they change themselves, that's for sure. But then the children, the family, the neighborhood, and even the whole country can change because of that change. So that's incredible. Well done.
yeah,
Now,
thank
share
you.
with us one of your secrets. Let's say that someone would like to connect with you, they never did any coaching before. What would you say is your secret to actually help them in this journey?
I don't really think it's a secret. I think when it comes down to it, and I look at my journey, everything that the women that I work with are going through, I've been there. So when I say the journey is hard, but they're not alone, I speak from experience. And I get to then share the things that I've been able to do, the techniques, the tips, the tricks, all the things that can help them, that can guide them, that can help them through the process. So, really, to me, the secret is just me being 100% authentic of who I am. I don't hide anything about me, right? I mean, I, it's funny because I say I'm a mutt in the sense of, um, I found my faith and I listen to rock, I listen to country, like I listen to gospel, I listen to a lot of different things, but I just bring that all to the sessions that I work with my clients So a lot of times what they're going through, I've experienced, and most of the time it's I'm experiencing it at a different level at that moment. So it's almost as if we get to go through that process again together through their journey. Um, so for me, the secret is just being authentic, being who I am, um, and sharing my journey, because my journey is is in some ways similar to theirs. Maybe not all the same avenues, but in some way we can relate on the journey.
Yeah, that's really, really deep that you're doing there. Sounds really, really amazing. Can you maybe share with us one or two steps that you would like someone to take? Something that you know from your experience and from your clients that really work for them. Let's say that someone is really lost at the moment. They don't really know what they are doing, who they are as a mom or as a business owner or even at work, or how can they figure that out in maybe one, two, three steps?
One of the first things that somebody had me do, and this was really difficult for me for a long time, was to sit and when you're starting this journey of self-development and figuring out who you are again, really challenging. And it can be very overwhelming. So the first thing I always say is just step back and make a list of 50 to 100. Say, start with 50, but 50 things you would love to do. This is really hard for some people to start with. I know for me, I couldn't even do it for a while. My daughter was helping me create the list. The first time I actually started that list of what are 50 things that I would love to do. Um, because what that does is that then gets you to realize, like, what aren't you doing that you love doing? What are things you want to be doing that you're not doing? So then what you would do is look at that list and say, okay, what can I focus on doing over the next week? And just pick one thing. Take some action. Because as you're taking that action, getting into doing something that you love, you're going to start rediscovering who you are. So those would be two of the biggest things right off the bat. Like somebody who's trying to figure out who they are, what and what they want, right? Figuring out what they love, um, can be really challenging. So if you can create that 50 list, then you can start taking some action into like, oh, okay, well, I do love reading, but I don't do it. Well, pick up a book, read 10 pages a day. And if you have
Brilliant.
to, yeah, and if they have to even start small, like 5 pages a day, right? Just something to get the juices flowing, because then as you create that list, when you think about it, then over the next few days, other things are going to start just maybe coming to you. You're like, I really like being in nature. I forgot how much I love being in, going for a walk in the woods or whatever. So it just really creates that creativeness to come back.
Yes, and then you can take your book in the nature, and here you go.
Right. That's
And
right.
we do the same in business as well when they are really trying to understand who they are, um, as a
Yeah.
business owner. So it's really good. This exercise is brilliant, and it's scary when you say like 50. Yes, just take a pen and a paper and write down. And then from a business perspective, you can just see how can you transform that in a business. Look how
That's
many
right.
things you enjoy. Look how many things you can do, and you don't even know that you are so good at them. You're just doing them from pure passion. And then
That's
guess
right.
what? You can actually run a business from that. So that's
Yeah.
brilliant. I love it.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned that there are so many stories that you had with your clients, like really, really life changing. Can you share maybe one of them with us?
Yeah. So I was working with this one woman, and I remember this. We were having a conversation, and it was a moment of her husband had said, "You should be so proud of yourself for doing this so quickly." And she's like, "I guess." And so I asked her, I said, "You're not proud of yourself?" And by me asking that question to her, it was piercing because she heard me say, like, "You're not proud of yourself." But it was her saying it of her, like she said, I have a hard time being proud of what I've done. Um, and so we worked through that. And so this year, actually, she opened her own business. She became a coach. So
Wow.
watching her from not being proud of herself and staying stagnant for so long, right? And then shifting to understanding that the small things add up and those small steps can make a huge impact. Whereas now she's out on her own creating the life that she wanted all along, but she was really kind of held back for so long. She held herself back.
Phe-
Um,
Phenomenal. Thank you, Jennifer, for
yeah, you're
sharing that.
welcome.
And so many times, maybe you can agree, in our job, sometimes we just have to give them hope and permission. And this
Hmm.
is what I find with my clients. So many times I just have to say, I give you permission to do this or that. And then in a matter of a few seconds or minutes, I'm like, everything obviously starts to change. And then I'm like, from now on, you can give permission to yourself because we
Yeah.
have that baggage. What do you think about this?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. So it's so important to be able to have that open creativeness in that session when I'm working with that client, right? And giving them that permission, being like, okay, well, stop for a moment and think about it. And she's a mom, right? So I said, think about it as if it's your child, right? Because then she could be proud of them. And I said, so well, step back and go, okay, why can't you be proud of yourself for that? Right. So it's given that like perspective as well. But yeah, having that space just to like permission wise and say, okay, it's okay that maybe in the past you didn't allow yourself that. But now, like, let's open the door and give yourself that space so you can be proud of yourself. So when we did then you could see the ball starting to go, and then her momentum changed and shifted.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's just a case of actually feeling like something is blocking them. Obviously, they're
Mhm.
blocking themselves because we all do at certain point in
Yes.
our life.
Hmm.
And then getting that is like a new fresh air. And then the bear is up, and here you go. You just go and flow because we all have our higher self in us. At the moment, maybe it's just in a jail. And guess what? Who's creating the jail? It's just ourselves. So
Great.
just open that jail and let you shine and let you discover who you truly are. And then everything flows and it's beautiful. I remember a time when I learned that I'm a higher achiever. I had no idea I am. I went to lots of therapy, coaching, and on and on. It was a case of I was never happy with what I achieved, and I achieved big things. And I felt like it's never good enough. Like I always
Mhm.
wanted more and more and more and more. And then the same thing can go underachieving. Some people are facing that as well. So it's always a case of just accepting it. First step is to accept you're dealing with a problem, and then your brain
Mhm.
just switch to solutions and then work with someone, work with a coach who gets you and can help you
Right.
to get from here to there. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. And I think it's important too that when someone starts or wants to go to receive coaching, that they're ready to be willing to be asked some really tough questions and be willing to open up and answer some really tough questions, because sometimes those tough questions can actually dig down into the nitty gritty of what's really holding them back, because everything is in with it. is within us, but it's not maybe coming out yet, right? So then it's figuring out why. Why is it not, why are you not where you want to be yet? And 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 until you can be with someone that can actually hold that space for you to create it with you, right? Because it's a creation together that it allows the opportunity for the person that you're working with to really just dive deep.
Mm, yes. And because you said that, now brings me back to clarity. So I'm a clarity queen as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you face this as well. Please tell me from your experience, because you mentioned, yes, you need to go where you want to go. You need to design the life that you want to have. You need to know what you want, but they don't know those things. That that stage of their life when they are just completely blind. How would you help someone to get clarity?
Yeah. Well, it all stems from our mindset and our limiting beliefs. So that is where we first have to start, right? So we really have to dive deep into where are they today? What are they doing versus who they want to be? And maybe they don't know yet, like you said, right? They don't have that clarity of who they want to be. But if you're set in a mindset that's either negative or fixed versus a growth mindset where you're willing to learn and shift and change, because that's how you're going to be able to take something that's negative, right? And in my case, I always say take an obstacle and turn it into an opportunity. So it's stop looking at it as the obstacle and or a challenge, and look at it as an opportunity and be like, okay, what can I learn from it? And how can I grow? And maybe it might take you a day or two to figure that out, but that's okay. You're willing to do that. So really looking at and diving deep into their mindset and what limiting beliefs they have is,
Yes, I love that.
yeah, those are key, because without that, without those knowledges, like it's hard to move forward. Yeah.
Absolutely. And another good exercise everyone can do, and it's so easy. Maybe you don't know where you want to go and you don't know what you want to be. However, you know what you no longer want in your life.
That's right.
So start with that, even making a list with what, for example, quitting drinking, not procrastinating anymore, not spending hours on your phone scrolling, or
Mhm.
eating healthier, or
Yes.
those type of things. And this boosts your confidence as well.
Mhm. Yeah, and by doing that, right, it's creating some boundaries, right? And again, it goes, and this also brings up like, what are your priorities and values? And if you're unaware, like I had to relearn exactly who I was, and to do that, that was my mindset, my limiting beliefs. And what is it that doesn't serve me anymore that I can stop doing? And okay, I stopped doing this. Okay, well, I'm not drinking anymore, so I'm doing this, or I'm not procrastinating. I'm actually taking action when something comes in, right? So learning that and putting some boundaries in, because if you're not willing to do, say you're not drinking, well, then you're going to probably limit and put some boundaries around who you're hanging out with for a while to ensure that you're sticking to that, because that's going to help you become who you want to be in the long end, the long run. So,
Yes, exactly.
yeah.
Now, Jennifer, before I let you go, can you please tell us how I love this, the way you said it, unapologetically create the life that you desire? Tell us more about that. And this word is just so beautiful. Let's go deeper in this one.
Yeah. So, again, for me, I just had to be, I had to, as I rediscovered who I was. One, I mean, I'm not just a mom, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm an aunt, right? So I'm all these things encompassing of who I am. but I had to really figure out who I was and what I wanted. And when I wanted to be present with somebody, I had to be authentic. So stop putting on a mask of who you think people want you to be. Be you. Be authentically you. Because unapologetically is I I'm not going to say I'm sorry for who I am to you. This is who I am. If you can accept me, great. And if not, that's okay too. But I'm not going to change for somebody else anymore. I did that for a long time. I made sacrifices and changes for other people instead of listening to my intuition and figuring out, staying true to who I was. Now people come and go from my life because I do just that. I'm not apologizing for who I am, what I stand for, or what I believe in anymore. And I think that that is something we need to get back to in this society. It's you know, we're always apologizing. And I found that I did it so much that my children have gotten really used to it. So now it's shifting their mindset. It's I'm working with them at this point, right? So like stop apologizing unless you do something wrong, right? Like if we make a mistake, we're going to own up to that. But to be unapologetically you is to be authentic with who we are, what we believe in, and not to put the mask on per se for being with people. That's the key, right? Is just being able to be exactly who you are. And when you are, you don't have this yucky feeling when you're around a bunch of people because you're just being you.
Wow, wow, wow. That's phenomenal. And when you are doing that, guess what? You don't have to please people anymore. You don't have to
Right.
worry about rejection anymore because you don't want those people who criticizes you in your life. And guess
That's
what? You
right.
don't allow them to be there. And then you just align yourself with beautiful people in your life that they see who you are and they love who you are, and this is how magic happens. Thank you
Yes.
so much, Jennifer. This was an amazing episode of Be You. And I'm grateful that you said be you so many times because we are all about find who you are and be yourself. Jennifer, please tell us where people can find you.
Yeah, I'm on social media under Jennifer Jaskell. And I have a website, jenniferjaskell.com. Very easy to find on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Reach out to me if you have questions. And thank you, Roxandra. This was wonderful. Thank you for having me.
You're more than welcome and thank you. It was really, really, really great. Great value. Thank you, everyone who listened. Thank you. I'm sure you had so many things that actually you can take from here. So please go connect with Jennifer. Send her a DM, send her a message, send her some butterflies so she knows you're coming from this beautiful community because she has some special discounts for you. This is all from us today. You take care and remember, keep on shining, keep on smiling, and always be you.